Hey KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra here at Allen Fieldhouse after what's going to be really hard to beat as the game of the year. I know Kentucky was a big win and it had a lot of hype and had a lot of excitement, but this one was a great game, and Kansas won 73-68 over number 2 Baylor. Just a great game. It had that Oklahoma feel from last year minus the overtimes, agree?
Yes, 64-64 with like 2:36 left, and Kansas just closed. Josh Jackson started it with that pump fake in the corner.
Yeah, beautiful.
He just made a three a few possessions earlier. Pump fake in the corner, goes and dunks a two-hander. He did a nice job of giving credit to Landon Lucas on that play for sealing off the other big man so that he couldn't come over and help. And those are the little things that Landon Lucas does that just makes him a great teammate and a terrific player on a team that needs someone exactly like that.
You know what else he did a nice job of? Making the rest of us feel incredibly human. Josh Jackson called that an easy play. He said, anybody that can fly that high and throw it down that hard, it's not easy. It's not easy for you. It's not easy for me. It's not easy for any of you. Right. But for him, I guess it was probably an easy play. A huge play, too. Baylor had a chance to really get up big in the first half. They got up 8 with a nice little run midway through. They had a chance to go up 10 and fumbled it out of bounds. That allowed Kansas to close to 6 at halftime. And it sort of reminded me of the Kentucky game in that. You know, if you're down 10, you get tight under the collar. It gets a little nerve-wracking. 6, that's 2 shots.
But then right off the bat in the second half, was it 13-2 or 14-2?
Yeah,
13-2, I think.
Svi had a couple of 3-pointers, just not exactly like Jackson against Kentucky, but sort of back-to-back threes.
It wasn't even 3 minutes that it took.
Right, no, 2:44 I think it was. So
incredible.
It just really shows how this team has a knack for not ever letting anything get too far away from them. They're always keeping things within arm's reach, and that's largely because what they can do offensively. But I thought tonight, and I think Bill Self thought the same thing, I thought they won this game defensively tonight. Not just at the end where they were phenomenal on that last possession, but really just with their mindset. They wanted to play defense. They wanted to make it hard on Baylor, and they did. Baylor only scored 68 points. And
they know they're not deep. They know that they're everyone's gunning for them, and they know they don't have a ton of firepower beyond the top few guys, so they don't take a possession off.
Right.
Those 3 superstars are really impressive. Landon Lucas, really impressive. Svi is playing a nice role for this team. And Teddy Greenstein of the Chicago Tribune, who I've known since back in my days when I was working in Chicago, came here on assignment, but it was on his bucket list to come up with an excuse to come to Allen Fieldhouse. And he saw a good night. The crowd had a great night, and he was blown away.
Good.
He really had the time of his life. It was cool to see, because we get jaded, but it's cool to see someone their first time in Allen Fieldhouse. And he just had a smile on his face all night.
Well, especially like you said, for a game like this. He probably will walk away thinking they're all like this. They're close, but they're not all like this. And it was just a really tough victory against a really good team. I thought Jonathan Motley had a monster first half, and then KU held him to 2 points in the second half. So again, it was about the little things too that they did defensively, and they played a little bit of zone. I really like the zone because I think Self keeps talking about it as it's okay, it's decent, we play it well at times and not so well at other times, but what it does is it aids the offense. It keeps those guys fresh. It keeps them from having to go 100% on all defensive
possessions. It helps
possessions.
with foul trouble.
Yeah. So it's just beyond all of the performances, 23 for Jackson, 19 for Mason, a double-double for Jackson, 11 boards for Lucas. I mean, beyond all of those things, I think we have to always make sure we remember what a good job of coaching Bill Self's doing with this team, because this is not easy. He said it tonight. They have very, very little margin for error, and he is pushing every right button right now.
It must be interesting for him, too, because it's such a different challenge.
So different.
I mean, he's never had a team with this little front court depth or back court depth. I'd say in that order, and he has figured out early, even coming into the season when they had Azubuike before he got hurt, he knew that the 4-guard thing was going to be a big part of things.
Yeah.
And then Azubuike goes down, you really have no choice. Think about how good he would be by now. He might be pretty good right now.
Yeah, pretty good is a good way to put it. I think he'd be a beast. I really do. I agree. And if you think about it, Self called this a good team win, and it was. I mean, Mitch Lightfoot had a couple of blocks, gave good minutes. Dwight Colby had 6 rebounds, gave good minutes. But Vic, Colby, and Lightfoot, I think, combined for like 25 minutes is all, or something like that. This is basically a situation where this team with 5 players just beat the number 2 team in the country, who's really talented.
Yeah, it was until Lightfoot had his bucket, only 4 players had scored.
Yeah, it's remarkable what they're doing, and they just find ways to win. They found ways defensively tonight. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thoughts are that this is a really, really clutch team. They know how to win. So if they're going to lose, it's probably going to be in a blowout somewhere along the line, but they know how to win. Clutch players make for a clutch team.
I like that. I've never thought of that, but maybe these people didn't like hearing it, but I think you could be onto something. They're going to win close games. That's what they do. For Tom Keegan, I'm Matt Tate. KU will be back in here on Saturday to take on Iowa State. We will be here, and we'll have another KU Sports Extra for you then. Thanks for checking out this episode. We'll talk to you guys real soon.